ZBrush is an extremely powerful digital sculpting application, but it is by no means the only digital sculpting application available. It is the most powerful, but that power comes at a cost. The cost, of course, is a steep learning curve. There's a lot of buttons, a lot of features, and this can sometimes bog you down. It depends on what your goal is. When you're considering adding digital sculpting to your visualization pipeline, take a look at some of these other applications and see if these actually work better for you, because some of them are simpler and some of them are also free. So for instance, we have Sculptris. Sculptris is a free application. It's made by the makers of ZBrush, so Pixelogic, and you can actually download it for free from www.pixelogic.com. And as you can see, it has many nice sculpting features, just like ZBrush. And it even has a GoZ option so that you can send models directly from ZBrush to Sculptris. So for instance, if I press the R button here, I can set my GoZ application to Sculptris, and then when I press GoZ, it will open up Sculptris and add the frog model to the modeling session within Sculptris. So here we can see, here is our frog model. And Sculptris does allow you to paint models and texture models just like ZBrush. The tools are a little bit more primitive, but again, they are a little bit easier to use. Sculptris does support importing and exporting OBJ files, so if you want to work it into your Maya pipeline, that's certainly feasible. Another popular application for digital sculpting is Autodesk's Mudbox, which has the advantage of being very much like Maya in terms of the interface organization. And of course, it also supports OBJ files, so our same frog model can easily be imported into Mudbox, and we have the advantage of exporting it directly to Maya. So I select my frog here, I can actually go send directly to Maya as a new scene. So here's our frog in Maya 2016, and I can also send this back to Mudbox. So let's say we make a change. So I'm going to select the vertex here and just pull it up. Select this and send to Mudbox, and we'll just say update current scene. And we come back into Mudbox and you can see there's a change. So another advantage of Mudbox is that it works very closely with Maya. I do think that the texturing tools within Mudbox are very good. And also the way that they have set up layers makes sense and is very stable. ZBrush layers work pretty well, but they don't work great for texturing, and I think Mudbox actually is a little bit better in that aspect. The sculpting tools are a bit more primitive than ZBrush, so it's harder to get the very fine level of detail that you get out of ZBrush from Mudbox. So they have their pros and cons. Interestingly enough, Maya has actually added sculpting tools directly into the Maya 2016 interface. So we have a new sculpting shelf here, and many of the tools here are reminiscent of the same tools that we find in Mudbox. So for instance, we have a grab tool here. If I select this one, I can actually pull parts of the surface. If I hold the B key, I can change the brush size and move this around for posing and so on and so forth. If I hold the shift key, it will actually allow me to smooth the model down. And then I also have various brushes. For instance, we have a sculpt tool that I'm going to hold the B key and drag on this to lower it. But you can see we can sculpt much like we can in ZBrush. You want to make sure that you have the tool settings open and that you adjust the strength. I think the default is 15, which is very, very strong. So I'm going to set this down to 0.1 and I get much more of a smoother sculpt. I believe it's based on the scale of your object. And this frog is actually fairly small. And there are other tools within here, such as bulge. If I set this down to like 0.1, we can actually inflate the surface here and then hold the shift key to smooth this. So very similar to Mudbox in terms of how these tools work. And then finally, another thing that's becoming very popular is the ability to sculpt directly within a web browser. The advantage of this, of course, is that it is completely free. If you do a web search for SculptGL, you will find this website, which has a browser that allows you to sculpt directly in the browser. And you can see the interaction is quite nice. And you can actually import popular 3D formats such as OBJ. Actually, we need to clear the scene, and let's try that again. There we go. Here's our frog model, and we can continue to sculpt on this. We have a number of topology tools, rendering options, and sculpting tools. So we can do a twist, and we can do move, and so on. So the advantage again here is it is completely free and very easy to use. And then of course we can also save as an OBJ so that we can bring this into Maya or other 3D apps and continue working there. 3D sculpting apps are becoming increasingly popular and available, so you do have many options as an artist. You're certainly not restricted to ZBrush. ZBrush is the one that I prefer to use because it is the most powerful, and it gives me the most options for creating the organic shapes that I need in scientific visualization.